Hey, good afternoon. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us on the Kare 11 app or wherever you like to stream. I'm meteorologist Courtney Aitken, taking a look at the time lapse of the day so far. A little gray this morning. Some areas actually woke up to patchy, dense fog. We didn't really see reports of that in the metro, but areas off to our south and even into western Wisconsin, we definitely saw reports of visibility lower than a mile at times. But through the lunch hour, we did see those low clouds lift. Still looks somewhat hazy, at least on this view, but we did have blue sky and it started to get warm and muggy. As of about 1 o'clock, temperatures in the low 80s. Actual temperature 82, feels like 82, or feels like 83 rather. That is that dew point at play. Dew points in the low 60s, so we're not by any means tropical, but you'll definitely feel that moisture in the air. Winds have been light out of the north so far today. I think they will shift a little bit more easterly as we head into the afternoon and evening. But as of lunchtime, here are your temperatures. Low 80s for the Twin Cities metro. We're at about 80 for Mankato, upper 70s for St. Cloud, 73 in Grand Rapids, Grand Marais. You're in the low 70s, 74 in Duluth, 71 up in Thief River Falls. And as we get into the rest of our day, we're going to see more of that sunshine. If you're really into those UV rays, the best time of day for you is going to be right about 5 or 6 o'clock. That's when we'll see the most breaks in that cloud cover, and those winds, as I said, shifting a little bit more easterly as we get into nightfall tonight. High temperature is likely going to make it into the mid 80s. Overnight tonight is when we see some changes. Temperatures fall into the 60s, and then we have a system that will work its way in from the west, starting with some scattered showers, and then stronger storms may develop. You can see the icons there for Laverne, Marshall, Jackson, Mankato, and Rochester. You guys have a little bit higher risk of seeing strong to severe storms late tonight and into Tuesday morning. Should those storms develop, the primary threats are going to be some larger hail and some damaging wind gusts. Now, it's not impossible that we couldn't see storms in the Twin Cities, but it's just a little bit more likely that that activity stays to the south. If you were up bright and early with us on our Sunday morning programming, you may remember we were tracking storms that headed toward the Twin Cities, and then they just missed us to the south. So a lot of folks hoping for that rain, and we just didn't get it. Tomorrow morning setup looks very similar. So we'll see if we can squeeze out some rain, but the brunt of it will be to the south. 86 tomorrow afternoon. Rain is gone by the afternoon, just another warm and humid day. Seasonal for our Wednesday. So we're essentially right where we should be, with lows in the 60s, highs in the lower 80s. And then as we get into Thursday, you'll notice less moisture in the air, lower humidity, lows in the low 60s to start, highs near 80 in the afternoon. For the rest of the day today, more of that sun comes out. We're warm and muggy through tomorrow. And then we have those late night rain chances, not just tonight, but for a couple more nights over the course of this week. So we'll talk more about that, but the rest of your day looks good. It will be dry. Highs today, mid 80s for the Twin Cities, low 80s for areas into western Wisconsin, 70s in Duluth. More clouds up to the north this afternoon, so that could keep the heat at bay and keep you guys in the 70s for places like Grand Rapids, International Falls, Bemidji, and Thief River Falls. One headline I did want to mention: the Twins are back home tonight. First pitch is at 6:40, which is a great time because that is when the sun should be brightest. So get out there and enjoy that light breeze. Temperatures in the 80s through those first few innings. Even through 9 o'clock, we're still in the upper 70s, even though more clouds will begin to build in. Here's the radar image as of about 1 o'clock. Very clear in the Twin Cities. Clouds starting to move in to that northwestern pocket of the state, but it's the southwestern pocket. That's where we have the risk for severe weather late tonight into tomorrow morning. This does not impact the I-94 corridor or the Twin Cities, but Mankato, Wilmer, Ortonville, you've got a level 1 risk, and then in the yellow further to the southwest, that's going to be your level 2 risk, which once again will include damaging wind gusts and large hail should those strong storms form. This is the latest run of the high-res model. You can see scattered showers possible through the 9 and 10 o'clock hour, but the stronger storms don't develop until really tomorrow morning. You can see the reason for that slight risk is that cluster of storms here that develops to our southwest, and then it continues its way east, just grazing the south metro potentially, but the bulk of the action is to our south, much like what we saw yesterday. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, we dry out, so no more rain there. We have temperatures in the mid 80s, could even be a little bit warmer than today. Humidity will be noticeable, but not oppressive. And that's really our last really warm and humid day before we start bringing those temperatures and humidity down through the back half of the week. So Wednesday is the middle of the week, literally, but it's also kind of the midway point for your forecast. We're seeing temperatures right about where they should be, kind of right in between the warmer than average and the cooler than average, which kicks in by Thursday. So by Thursday, we have lower humidity, we have temperatures just a touch below average, and that trend continues into our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Highs in the 70s and lows maybe even in the upper 50s.